Chapter 1. The ENTJ Propensity for Dating. It might depend a little on your age or whether you've been single at some point since 2005. But most ENTJ have at least a little experience with, or could easily be talked into, online dating. Why ENTJ more than other types? An extrovert is more likely than an introvert to be comfortable with online dating. Curiously, it's the introverts who can benefit most from dating sites because they're less socially engaged elsewhere to get their flirt on. That said, we extroverts are people with a social itch where we really want to engage with others. We want to be around them and feel most comfortable when we are, whether in the throng or on a string of fast-fingered chat messages. Online dating for extroverts? Yes, please. An intuitor is more likely than a sensing personality type to use online dating by a long shot. Sensing types prefer to take things in through observation before assimilating into their quiver of truths. Intuitors, on the other hand, scan the world for patterns and prefer to make informed assumptions based on whatever information they can get. It often takes an intuitor personality type to be more comfortable looking at an exchange on a dating website and inferring whether there's possible chemistry. A thinker is just a little more likely than a feeler to use online dating. But it's virtually certain that a thinker will be more prolific than a feeler. Feeling personality types make decisions on emotional factors, while thinking personality types break decisions down into the most objective data they can. Everyone has a little bit of both, and even the most thinking personalities will make a few feelings-based decisions in dating. But with today's data and metadata and all sorts of Googleable possibilities, it's the thinkers who work quickly through online solicitations to cut the pool down to the most compatible callers. A judger has nothing to do with being judgmental, which is good news for ENTJ and everyone around them. Being a judging personality type simply refers to the preference for making decisions over waiting, watching, and spontaneity. All that stuff about thinking versus feeling, that's the judging spectrum, or how someone prefers to make decisions. As a judging personality type, ENTJ interacts with the world more through intelligent decision-making than anything else. Sound handy for online dating? Yes. ENTJs are those of us who filter candidates decisively through our own personal litmus tests and don't skip a beat before saying, forget the website, let's get coffee. I am an ENTJ, and yeah, I've done lots of online dating. But here's the secret. The propensity that trailblazers have for searching for partners isn't just in 2 dimensions on clickbait website platforms. ENTJs are equally equipped for power dating online and off. How these and other qualities prime ENTJ for relationships. As though it weren't enough to be extroverted, intuitive, objective, and decisive, there are other common ENTJ traits that lend themselves to romantic relationships. We all have times where we're not quite ourselves and relationships that pressure us to change or behave differently. But don't let any false positive convince you to be someone other than you. Here are some common traits among ENTJs when our personality really comes out. We're decisive about relationships. It's easy to commit once we find what we're looking for. We engage willingly with the world and we aren't shy. We often exude confidence. We look for signs of compatibility and trust our instincts. We don't have to see it to believe it. We're attracted to relationships that offer new experiences or learning opportunities. Information is there to be gathered and reasoned out. We don't see critique as criticism, especially when someone solicits our thoughts. Feelings? We'd rather examine them than express them. If there's a decision to be made in a relationship, we're going to make it. We're not always the most spontaneous. We're known to see relationship hurdles as projects instead of problems. We're good at planning for the future. We also really like planning for the future. We essentially live for the future. It's easy to see how these traits can look attractive on a partner, but not one of these traits is without its pitfalls, and let's be honest, any bullet point list will only scratch the surface. Let's apply this 101 level overview to common perspectives of men and women ENTJs before getting into some of the nitty-gritty of who to date, how to communicate, and what it's like being an ENTJ partner. Common perspectives of ENTJ men. Men have it made as ENTJs out for love. Now, if you're a man, an ENTJ, and hating me at this moment, hang tight. No word of this makes something that should be true become true just because it should be. I don't know what card you've been dealt. However, what I can tell you is that as an ENTJ, you have what larger contemporary society tells us is a dream deal for male suitors. Let's look at this from a potential mate's perspective, setting aside anything outside of your ENTJ preferences. Extroverted? Yes. Okay, I know everyone wants something different. There's no one-size-fits-all, but larger pop culture has preached for a very long time that extroverted men are more attractive. This is a trait that for ages upon ages was even considered masculine. And for as much change as there's been in recent generations, men are still more often the first to make the approach in romantic situations. You can wrangle that extroversion into an extension of natural confidence. The middle two letters of all MBTI types are called the mental function pair because they touch on how we internally process things. The NT of ENTJ is commonly called the intellectual function pair because of the way we dissect information, look for patterns, and are naturally drawn to making conclusions. If you've ever waffled on asking someone out and missed a chance before, embrace your mental function pair and recognize that you were particularly wired to recognize a good thing when you see it. The judging component of ENTJ is much like extroversion in that generations of social expectations have told us that men are just this way. By being decision makers and action takers, ENTJ men can confidently take the lead in relationships. And this is even more attractive with the objective, rational thinking that fueled those decisions in the first place. An ENTJ man can be naturally as attractive as the romance novel lover who says, "You're what I want. I can see we're made for each other. I know it's you I want and I have to act." Though, hopefully not in those words. Common perspectives of ENTJ women. Women have a hot-cold reception as the ENTJ personality type. Naturally, everyone with their own preference and taste will have their own perspective on this, and there are some who might see an ENTJ woman as the most attractive person on earth. It's worth discussing, however, how ENTJ traits are perceived differently in male prospects than in women. Maybe that's natural. Maybe that's fair. Maybe not. Here's a breakdown of the ENTJ type from what larger society tells us about women. An extroverted woman can be an exciting or intimidating thing. Traditionally speaking, extroversion was more acceptable between women, but never coming from a woman directed at a man. A woman who got off extroverting herself in mixed social situations was, well, of another sort. Happily, we live in a time where women can vote and wear blue jeans, and where the extroverted woman is quickly becoming a welcome social presence. The ENTJ function pair, NT, describing how we process information, is far less common among women. Whether from social pressures or something else, women are more commonly pegged as being sensors and feelers than intuitors and thinkers. But as a logical thinking ENTJ, you were pretty much born to throw social expectations to the wind. Who cares if women are supposed to be more touchy-feely? If you're a natural intellectual, that's something to wear proudly. Decisive women are, by most standards, intimidating. But who knows? If you like roller coasters, you could be into this kind of thrill. The preference toward planning, making decisions, and barreling through life with decisive action is another trait seen less frequently in women. If you're one of those rare few, this just gives you a greater chance to shine. Men are commonly considered decisive, and even more often they're expected to be. As a decisive, action-taking woman, you can be a true trailblazer through antiquated gender typing and embrace your natural dispositions.